Hi all, it's Jonathan here, and today I want to talk about the DC rental property license process. You're likely getting to this video because you're considering becoming a landlord, or you already are a landlord and you want to be legal. It's quite important that you are a legal landlord in the district for two very important reasons. First, to be found renting without a license can incur a $2,000 fine per unit. Second, and what I consider more important, is not having a license also means you don't have the full abilities afforded to you as a licensed landlord in landlord-tenant court. And there are several precedents where judges have ruled in tenants' favor because a landlord has simply been unlicensed. So let's get to it. The DC rental property licenses consist of 4 steps: 3 filings with 3 different agencies, as well as 1 inspection. I know that just suddenly sounded daunting, but I'll explain it out in its entirety and maybe it won't seem so daunting. First and foremost, you need to file what's called an FR 500 Combined Business Tax Registration with the Office of Tax and Revenue. Yes, you heard me correctly, it is a business tax form. Renting in the District of Columbia is considered a business activity, and so you are applying to get a business license. I would highly recommend you consult a tax person if you have questions related to what you would need to do. I can tell you this much: you need to file what's called a D30 tax form, unincorporated franchise tax return, every April 15th. It's a 2-page scheduled form that basically allows you to put your gross rental income, back out expenses, and come up with a net income. And your tax at this time is 9.95%, or a minimum tax of $250, whichever is greater. By the way, if you collect under $12,000 gross, again that's gross, within the calendar year, then you actually do not have a tax liability for that year. Second little thing with regard to taxes, you need to make sure that if you've lived in the property and you have homestead exemption on it, that you file a cancellation of homestead exemption. Although you're applying and notifying the district that you are renting the property out, it does not automatically remove this homestead exemption. So you simply need to file a cancellation. After all, you don't want additional fines and penalties for failure not to do so. Second step, applying for the actual license, which is called the Basic Business License with the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs. This is done by way of a form called the BBLEZ form. There are 3 different types of rental property licenses in the district: a 1-family rental property license, 2-family, or apartment house. To define those further, a 1-family license would be for a condo, co-op, or single-family house, basically 1 unit. Second would be a 2-family, and that would be reserved for a structure that has only 2 units in it. That would also include row homes that have the English basement rental to it. And yes, if you're living in the top section and you're renting out the basement, you must get the 2-family license. The 1-family would be incorrect. Finally, if there are 3 or more units in a single structure, that falls under the apartment house. Now, one step further, if you're getting a 2-family or an apartment house license, you are also required to have a certificate of occupancy, and we'll be discussing certificates of occupancy more in future videos. Third step, you need to file what's called an RAD Claim of Exemption or Registration Form. This is what's either going to register you for rent control or exempt from rent control, and it has to be filed with the Office of Rental Accommodations at Department of Housing and Community Development. So, by the way, let's define this a little more so you understand perhaps if you fall under rent control or if you would be exempt. If you own 4 or fewer properties and you are an individual or multiple individuals, so long as no one who's an owner owns more than 4 rental properties, you would automatically be exempt from rent control. If anyone owns 5 or more, then the property would come under rent control. In addition, trusts are not considered the same as natural people or individuals. So trust, as well as business entities, would automatically be under rent control from the first property. There are exceptions to this rule based on when the building was built And so you could actually still become exempt from rent control if you were 5 or more, or if you're a business entity. The most common loophole is if the property was built after 1985. Again, we can discuss this more in future videos as well. All right, you've gotten through all your filings, so now we're up to the inspection. You must pass the inspection within 45 days of license issuance. And by the way, the inspection is only related to 1 and 2 family properties. Apartment houses fall under a very different licensing, or I should say, I apologize, inspection division, and their inspections regularly occur over the 2-year period of their license and every subsequent renewal. 1 and 2 families at this time only have the inspection within 45 days of license issuance at first issuance, not during renewals. So, the inspection, don't be scared about it. They're looking for basic stuff. It's a health and safety inspection, really. It's about 10 to 15 minutes long, so you really can't get in that much trouble in that short a time. More importantly, it's not like Monopoly where if you fail, don't pass go, don't collect $200 and go to jail. Simply get the items corrected and go back through the inspection again. There may be a $90 fee, and generally there is for reinspection, but it's not the most difficult thing. Look for another video, we're also going to be talking about the inspection more, but you can also go to an article called What Inspectors Really Look For on our blog at blog.rentjiffy.com, and it goes over in great detail what they're looking for. That concludes what the process is, what's involved. Here at Rent Jiffy, we've assisted over 1,700 customers get legal. You can also bypass going through the 3 agencies and doing all of this yourself and trying to figure it out by going to our website, www.rentjiffy.com, and applying online. After answering about a 7 to 8 minute questionnaire, which will determine if you need to be registered for rent control or exempt, as well as you can do the form for cancellation of homestead exemption, you'll check out and electronically sign the documents. All in all, we find most customers complete the process in about 15 minutes, and we take it from there. We'll go and do the filings with the various agencies and report back to you with a license. The cost for 1 family property licenses is generally $399, and that includes the $225 the city charges. 2 families is $617. Again, it includes the fees from the city. Apartment houses depend on how many units it is, so go to our website and you can check the price there. Of course, if you have questions, make sure to check out our blog. Again, the website address is blog.rentjiffy.com. You can also email our support department. It's support@rentjiffy.com, or give us a telephone call at 877-898-3989. We're a small company, so if you do call and you get the voicemail, please leave a message. I promise we'll get back to you. Finally, we also do offer consultations where if you want to schedule a half hour's worth of time, we can chat with you specific to your scenario and go over the finer details. Anyway, that's it for me today. Happy landlording, and keep a lookout for more videos. Take care.